everyone, I'm Leah and this is What the Heck Do I Know? Today I want to walk through a real example of what using PM skills in your personal life might look like. For this example, we're going to use the medium-term goal of learning a new language for our walkthrough. Our SMART goal for learning a new language looks something like this. I want to learn Spanish to the basic conversational fluency level in the next 6 months. This is specific, measurable, achievable, reasonable, and time-bound. I chose this example because this is a goal I actually created for myself last November, and while I'm still working at it, I'm not putting in the time or doing the lessons the way I should be to actually finish. In this example, though, we're going to start from scratch. If we think of initiating as the idea time, we have already done that part by establishing our SMART goal. We decided that we want to do something, learn Spanish, and we're pretty clear on what that is, but we need to consider a few other things about how to accomplish our goal. Do we have a budget for this? Do I need to pick a program with a proficiency test at the end? Have I given myself enough time? Is it possible for me to learn a new language? In order to figure this stuff out, we need to do some research, and this is where the planning comes in. We will do research to create our plan, or we will go back to our initiating phase to tweak the goal. So, we are in the planning phase, or step 2. I'm going to say that we do not have a budget or money to spend on this, so we are going to be concentrating on free apps. We don't need a proficiency exam because we are doing this for personal development, and no one is going to be checking our fluency at the end. We learned from thelinguist.com that it takes the average English speaker about 480 hours to learn Spanish to the level of fluency that we want. Since we're giving ourselves 6 months, let's decide that we want to track our progress weekly. 6 months is approximately 26 weeks, 52 weeks in a year, and divided by 2. So this would mean that we need to dedicate approximately 18.5 hours per week to study. Is this something that we can actually achieve with everything we have going on in our lives? If it's not, we need to look at the overall duration we're giving to this goal. If you want to increase the time to 9 months, it works out to about 39 weeks and 12.3 hours per week. Or you can give yourself an entire year and dedicate 9.2 hours per week. This is your goal, so you decide what is manageable for you and then just do the math. Keep in mind, though, that since we've decided to use an app instead of a structured class for this, we can complete lessons anytime. Lunchtime, breaks at work, public transportation, waiting in line, or while on hold. If you spend a lot of time in these situations, you might be able to do this faster than you think. For the purpose of this example, I'm going to stick with the original timeline of 6 months, and now it's time to execute. What can we do before we start to make accomplishing this goal easier? Well, a visual representation of our schedule and goal is really helpful. You can use Excel spreadsheets, a chart, a calendar, or a big whiteboard if that's your kind of thing. If you are rewards oriented, perhaps you can build in some special thing for yourself at certain milestones. For this goal, I would suggest at maybe every 100 hours. There are lots of ways of tracking your progress. You might want to be a bit more flexible because life happens and you might only do 1 hour on Mondays but manage 3 hours on Tuesdays. If you think this is likely, you can make a chart where you can write in what you accomplish every day rather than checking off a pre-filled form. And as long as your weekly total adds up, you should reach your goal in time. However you build your chart for monitoring and controlling the execution of your goal, you should check your totals weekly to make sure you're staying on track. So what happens if after week 1 or 2 you aren't hitting your targets? Well, make some adjustments to your schedule to see if you can bring it back together or at least get consistent results. If it's been 4 weeks and you still aren't hitting your weekly targets, then it's time to make a major change to your plan. Maybe 6 months is just not long enough given your busy schedule. We're going to take a break, not beat ourselves up, figure out how far we still have to go based on what we've accomplished so far, and then redo the math in the plan. You don't need to give up on your goal, you just need to make it achievable. This is a concept that in project management could be called rebaselining the schedule, or perhaps it might fall under change management, depends on how you look at it. More on these subjects in a later post, I just kind of wanted to introduce the concepts here. Now, most people tend to overestimate what they can accomplish in the short term and underestimate what they can accomplish in the long term. Since we set weekly targets, it's possible that we might need to make some adjustments. And because of this tendency of overestimating and underestimating, I think it's okay to reestablish your baseline schedule after starting a project, once you have real productivity data to work with. In many industries, the kinds of projects you work on will have known or at least required durations for individual tasks. But if you're doing something that you've never done before, how can you know how long it's going to really take you to do it? Okay, so to recap, this is what we accomplished in our example. Initiating, we decided we wanted to learn Spanish to conversational fluency in 6 months. Planning, we did some research, learning that this will take approximately 480 hours, so my schedule will be approximately 18.5 hours per week. I do not have a budget, so I will be using the free app. Execution, we started spending the required number of hours doing lessons and supplementing with other instructional material after a certain number of lessons are complete to maintain forward progress. Monitoring and control, we made a schedule so that we can track the number of hours we are putting in and review our progress weekly to make sure we stay on target. Closing, if we want to test our abilities, some apps offer tests for paid subscribers, and there are, of course, free online options. So that's it for this walkthrough. You can adjust any of these items to fit your life situation because what the heck do I know? If you like these videos, please subscribe and share with friends.